situations, and I want to avoid that. So she came down from the 8th floor, and she looked at the shirts, and she said, yes, I know. I knew that they were of lower quality. We thought you wouldn't notice. What? So, okay. So I said, okay. So what are we going to do about this? She said, well, okay, let me contact the company who made the shirts, and I will get back to you. And she called me later, and she said, you will get 20 shirts of the better quality for free. Oh, okay. No, I called her. I wrote her an email, because after letting everything settle down and trying to solve everything in a nice way without causing too much waves, I wrote an email, and I just said, you know, I feel cheated, so please take all these shirts back and refund my money. And then she came up with the idea of having 20 shirts for free. But this, you know, this way of cheating is rampant in this society. It happens very often, and people, when they get away with it, they are proud of their achievement. Why am I telling you this? Because this is so impure, and if you don't pay attention, you destroy your business with that kind of practice. No, it's not about destroying your business, it's about purity. It's about giving people what they pay for, instead of rather than doing your business cheating people. But the nice thing of that whole issue is that they feel guilty. Shame, you know, shame culture. So every time I order something, I get the best of the best as a result. So sometimes you need to swallow some bad thing to come to a very good thing. And you see, those hoodies are very nice, very comfortable, best quality. And I get them for $20,000 per piece. So that's a good deal. Purity of motive, practicing purity means that you have to ask yourself what it really is that you want to do. Do you really want to live in Korea? Or do you really want to be an English teacher? Or do you really want to have a career in corporate life? What is your motive? What is your motive for being in a relationship with your boyfriend or your girlfriend? That is purity. That your motive, that your motivations for doing what you do are pure. Why is this important? It is not because you want to be holier than the Pope. It is not for showing other people, but it is for your own, for yourself, for your development, for peace of mind. But as long as we keep doing things that we actually don't agree with, but based upon ulterior motives, we will never be able to find our real selves. We will not be able to find our, what we call dharma, which you translate into English as destiny or your vocation. And this is very difficult because we have been brought up for 20, 30 years in this way. We were taught to do the things that we do. We were educated. Our parents told us what is right and wrong based upon their vision of life. The media bombard us with ideas that we adopt without questioning. And so one day you wake up and you become more sensitive and you start paying more attention to what you really feel and what you really want in life. And from that moment on, you are slowly but certainly going to have to deal with all those ideas that you have planted in you. Asking yourself what it is that you want. I'll give you an example. Apart from the t-shirts, you go to a restaurant, and very often when you go to a restaurant, somewhere under your skin, you feel something is not right. You have a feeling that all they want is just make some money out of the people coming to the restaurant. So they are not particularly welcoming to the customer. They are kind of cold. The food is mediocre. It fills your stomach, but it's nothing really special. How is it possible? How can it happen like this? It is because the motive of the restaurant owner is not pure. There are many people, many restaurant owners who just started a restaurant because that was the obvious thing to do. It is not because they love food. It is not because they love to serve customers and make them happy with a nice meal. It's just a way of making money. And I'm very sensitive, and surely you are, and from now on you will pay attention to this because it now comes to the surface of your consciousness. If I ever come to such a restaurant, I never go back. And sadly, most restaurants are like that. But when you come to a restaurant where the owner loves food, the owner started the restaurant out of love for food, out of passion for food, and the people working there are welcoming because they like to serve you nice food and they like you to leave with a happy feeling. That kind of place I always return, and I tell other people about it. You understand purity? If you can find something in your life that you really love, like the restaurant owner that loves cooking or loves nice food and loves also to please customers, because that is the purpose basically of a restaurant. If you can find something like that in your life, you'll be a big step ahead of most other people. We all have a duty to ourselves, to nobody else, only to ourselves, to find what we really love in life. If you can't find it, surely if you now start thinking about what you really want, you can't come up with anything. It takes time. But until you find what you really want, try for yourself also to distinguish. If you go, for example, to a restaurant, where you are welcome and where you are not. And do not simply go to those places anymore where you are not. If you feel some resistance, which you have already felt, but subconsciously probably, from now on try to be conscious of it and try to determine also, just as a matter of a game, try to determine why you feel resistance. What you think is it that is bothering you being there? Is it the people, the way they treat you, the way they are totally detached from food and their customers, for example? Is it the food? What is it that is bothering you? And then draw your conclusion. It is very difficult, to find people who are pure. And in some cases, like for example with food, it makes a difference between really enjoying something, because like art, what we discussed this morning about heaven, like beautiful things or good quality products, every time you use it, it can give you a little piece of heaven. It's the same with food. Good food brings you to heaven too. Only if you eat too much of it, it brings you to hell. Because too much food blocks your energy circulation, and so you become and you need to take a nap, you collapse. That is what happens if you eat too much. Yeah? Maybe Glenn knows the Chinese restaurant next to the old yoga school, the second floor. That is a Chinese couple. Chinese waitresses. They have their own farm in Icheon. It's a biological farm, ecological, how do you say that? Biological. But they grow biological vegetables, which they use in their kitchen. Organic. Everything organic. They don't use fertilizer and other poison with the leftovers of the process with which you make tofu. There's a lot of water coming from, which is very nutritious. So the vegetables are watered with that waste product. And the man is traditional Chinese doctor, although he's not practicing. He's running the restaurant with his wife. He's a traditional Chinese doctor, and he gathers the leftover. The Chinese doctor makes medicine. He makes concentrate out of herbs. So they extract the useful liquid from these herbs, and the rest usually they throw away. He uses that as fertilizer. So the vegetables they grow are full of very good nutrients. These people love customers. They love to please people with good food. They never use MSG. And it's very nice. And you can feel that when you go there. And their food, compare it with other Chinese restaurants, and you will see that it's much more delicious also. And that is so nice when you find out something like that. And you can feel from those people that they love. They don't run that restaurant for making money. They run that restaurant because they love food. And they come up with new menu and new things on their menu, and you will find in that restaurant things that you cannot find in any other Chinese restaurant, like a fried turtle or something. Very special. Not the turtle, but they have very nice, healthy foods like with tomato, and it's not typically Chinese, a kind of fusion. Well, most Chinese restaurants is heavy and fried everything and a lot of MSG. Not there. They have very nice, light food. That is purity. Those people practice purity in the way that they run the restaurant, in the way that they treat their customers. If it is only for money, your heart is not in it, and people feel that. Especially sensitive people feel that.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I missed. You did say it, and I didn't hear it, and I was just curious. Where is the restaurant near here? Can we experience what you have?
Yeah. It's in Itaewon, but it's out of the. It's next to the Crown Hotel actually, but in the back street. Most of you don't know where the old yoga school was, I think. You have this road coming from Panko Bridge. Big road. Here is the 8th Army, Yongsan Army Base. Here is Itaewon Street, Nongsak-kyong Station. Here you have, these days you have this huge building. That is the BU office, Yongsan BU office. Next to the BU office, there is the Crown Hotel. This is a relatively big building, but now that this Yongsan BU office has been built, it's dwarfed, it's very small now. Next to the Crown Hotel, you have 4 more smaller buildings. I have to adjust my map a little. So, you have a triangle split here. Here, you have the Hamilton Hotel. So this street is where all the antique shops are. Here, you have some car centers that cater especially to the American Army base. Here in this building, at the 5th floor, was our yoga school before. Here, on the 2nd floor of this building, is a Chinese restaurant above a car center, Kim's Car Center, I think. 2nd floor. It's called Daehanka, but it's not written in alphabet. 2nd floor. Don't make a mistake to go to the Chinese restaurant on this side of the street. Actually, so it is here. Because they try to, with a big sign of being Chinese restaurant, they try to take away customers from them. Because people know this one is good, but they can't find it, so they end up here. With loads of energy in their food and just a typical Korean Chinese restaurant. Don't go there. It's here. Second floor. Daehanga. 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 No, Chinese.
No, we're really in trouble.
No. Second building, second floor. Easy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you want to know a good dentist also?
Hey, anything you share.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what?
we appreciate it.
Horrible. You go away from your trusted dentist where you come from, and you come here, and you're subject to butchers. They have 7 seats in a row, with 7 different customers, and just one dentist. And he runs from one chair to another, to another, to another. Yeah? You get all kinds of treatment that you don't actually really need. Horrible. What does it mean? Just making money. That's what they do. I found such a nice, and it took me 3 years to go. Actually, she was in the same building as the yoga school, on the second floor. And I continued to go to those butchers, not knowing that we had such a nice dentist on the second floor. And so one day I went there, and she's so pure, so nice. She doesn't even charge sometimes, and she will never try to talk you into having a crown or having another expensive treatment just because that makes them a lot of money. So because of that approach of her, she's almost bankrupt. Yeah? She's so nice. And one of the few female dentists that you will be able to find here. She's so nice, so pure. And that is for me, I will, even if I live on the other side of Korea, if I need a dentist, I will come to Seoul and go to her. Because for as long as possible, I want to continue to go to her.
I haven't found a good dentist yet.
Yeah, I know. For many expats, that is really difficult. And what a lot of foreigners do, and I did that in the beginning too. You go to one of those clinics that appeal to foreigners. You pay 5 times. You pay 5 times what you usually pay for dental treatment in other clinics in Korea. And even in the end, they are the same. They just want to make a lot of money, and they talk you into needing crowns and all kind of expensive treatment. She doesn't do that. It's the same. It's the first building here. There is an overpass. This big wide road. There is an overpass, and when you cross the overpass, actually, you walk straight in the building. Worry not that you have to go down the stairs. So you go second floor. Next time I will bring the telephone number of the dentist. It's called Eni Chico. E-N-I Chico. E-N-I dentist. Female dentist. Very nice. Very reliable. That is the most important. You sit there with your mouth open and they chip away at your teeth. That's horrible. I will bring down the number of her next week. Huh?
Andy.
Second floor. But anyway, purity, it's so important. So listen, why I recognize this so much? Because I'm the same. I'm not teaching yoga for fancy fashion bullshit and all that kind of stuff. Yoga is much more valuable than that. You can make so many people so happy and give them an advance in life also, or bring people's life to the next level by studying yoga in a proper way. And I know many yoga teachers are young girls. They are actually too inexperienced to teach a science of life, and they don't even know what it means. It's all about exercise and about having a pretty ass and sometimes they teach in a bathing suit or a bikini, they're absolutely totally what does that have to do with yoga? Is it just looking pretty and impressing people with your nice physique? There are yoga schools that recruit people, students for the yoga teacher training course, and they literally demand, one of the conditions is that you have a nice pretty body. That exists, that is normal. I am pure also in pursuing yoga in the way I do, I know that. And that makes me super sensitive towards anything else that I have to deal with. I would just simply say, hey, you know, I would never do it like this. Why don't you try to find another job, something that really makes you happy? If you find what you really want, you do it with your full heart. You're compassionate, you're passionate even about what you do and how you convey that to people. And it doesn't matter whether you are an accountant or a dentist or have a restaurant or a yoga teacher, try to find that. And surely as English teachers, most of you are, I think you feel what it is about. Because the difference is that you really engage your students and they love to come to your class. Every time Tuesday afternoon they have your class, they're looking forward to that. That is, or if you are not engaged, it's not really actually what you are looking for in life. They just drag themselves into your classroom and they fall asleep in the room and they're busy with their mobile phones or so. And for you also, when you are not fully engaged in what you do, you are exhausted at the end of the day. It costs so much effort to do what you have to do. Purity. Ask yourself, every time, also about what other people do. And refuse, from now on, to participate in things that are not pure. Don't take this in a fanatic way, like we don't take the other things in a fanatic way either. Play with it, and slowly, certainly, try to find your way more and more into the direction that for you feels like coming home. That for you feels like, yes, this is what I want. That is purity. That will lead you to find your destiny in your life. And if you find what it really is that you want, nothing will stop you. No matter how much trouble and misery people put in your way, nothing will stop you. Nothing will keep you from pursuing it. Only your hair will fall out and will become white. But no, purity. That's a duty for every human being. I know intuitively you feel it, and surely everybody here, in a way we apply this in our lives already. But now it is time to refine that. It will help you to not only find fulfillment in the things that you do in your life, it will help you to create more stability. You become more stable. You know, I know there are many people, when you talk about age, people are scared to get old. And people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they very often say, oh, I wish I was 18 again. You know what that tells me? That tells me that they haven't found what they are looking for in their life yet. I would never want to go back to when I was 18 or 16 or 20 or 24. Those were the most miserable years of my life. Yes, it's true. And now I'm very comfortable. I know what I want. I do what I want. I'm healthy, stable, comfortable in a way. Life of a yogi is inherently unstable, but that is another story. I would never want to go back. Never. I've come so far over the years to leave that behind and not be bothered anymore by that time. Don't you feel like when you were around that age, that sure, you were full of enthusiasm and the world was, everything was new, exciting, and I don't know what? weren't you struggling? I was struggling. Because at that time, I didn't know yet what I really wanted in life. And when I started practicing yoga, that instability actually became worse. But the yoga gave me something to hold on to, and it gave me a determination also to pursue something. So that is why I'm saying life of a yogi is inherently unstable, but you get an enormous stability, solidity even, you get in return when you start pursuing what you really feel in your heart. You become indestructible. When you read this in a yoga book, indestructibility, invincibility, you think, nice stories are these. These stories are nice, it's symbolic stories, it doesn't apply to me. I tell you, it does apply to you. You cannot imagine how good it feels to have that sense of indestructibility. That is because you feel whole, and nobody can take that away from you. You come to that simply by practicing purity. Well, the use of the word simply is, of course, not really appropriate, but you know, do you have principles? Do you have principles? Stick to your principles in life. That is purity. Every time you compromise, because it just seems an easier way out, afterwards you feel dirty. You understand that? So if you have principles, stick to your principles. Of course, you try to be diplomatic, because we also have non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, non-desire. So of course you try to avoid conflict, but under the surface, you try to keep your line and you stick to your principles. Why? For stability, for solidity, self-respect, dignity. If you break your principles every time when things become a little bit difficult, every time you were in a situation that you think, oh my God, this goes against my principles, but okay, let's just bend with the wind, that will solve the problem, or then I will obtain what I want. Every time you do that, you destroy your self-respect, you destroy your dignity. It makes you feel dirty. It makes you feel like selling yourself, like selling your body, it makes you feel like a prostitute every time you break your principles, just to make the situation easy. That is purity also. Be consequent. Be consistent. First of all, towards yourself. But based upon that, towards every situation in your life and towards all people in your life. I once, when I started my Facebook group, that was also a suggestion from students who looked at me pitifully, because I'm like this dentist, you know. I don't have customers because I'm too pure, in a way. So somebody suggested make a Facebook page, then you will have some more exposure. So I made a Facebook page, and before you know it, it's a yoga, Magic Wand Yoga School Facebook page. Before you know it, other yoga schools start advertising their teacher training program on my Facebook page. So I know this guy, so I contacted him, and I said, I wrote something like, I removed your post from my website because I think it goes against the principle of purity. This is our Facebook group to promote our teacher training course. So I think it is a little bit strange that you put your advertisement, free advertisement, on my Facebook page, you know, just as a remark. Then he said, what do you mean purity? I don't feel dirty. My body is not dirty. So I wrote him back, so after having commented, and he wrote back to me his ignorance about yoga, basically, because that's what I understood from his reaction. He doesn't understand what purity means. Then I tried to hush the situation and said, okay. But anyway, I removed him my friends list of friends. Anyway, I removed him and he can't have access anymore to the Facebook page. But that's purity. The fact that you don't take a shower in the morning doesn't mean that you are impure. Purity of motive. You know, if he would have contacted me in advance and say, hey Ron, how about I put some notice on your Facebook group and you put some notice on my Facebook group, because he has a Facebook group too. Then I would say, hey, nice, that is synergy. But he just put it there without notifying me, and I just thought, hey, this is not correct. Then he thought, yeah, purity. Yeah, I don't feel dirty in body. Okay, is that what you think about purity? Then? So I hushed it up and we were still good friends, but not really. You have no friends anymore. Purity. Of course, the physical aspect is there. How do you practice purity on that level? Is simply by, of course, you take a shower regularly. Some people take a shower as a kind of ritual before yoga practice. Some people take a shower every morning when they wake up, or every morning, every evening before going to sleep again. Yeah, that is also purity. That is self-respect. But you know, your body is a functioning organism that functions by the grace of what you put into it, fuel. If you put lousy petroleum into your car, it will make a lot of smoke, and when you push the accelerator, it won't react, it won't speed up, it won't accelerate. So take care, in a sense of purity, take care of your own engine by putting in pure fuel. You are what you eat. Every language in the world has that expression. You are what you eat. Your well-being, your health, will be as good as the quality of the food that you put into your system. So in that sense, well, you all know what is sensible and what is not so good for your health. So in that sense, you pay attention to that a little bit too. The ultimate disgust of a yogi is the realization of how dirty his body is. Not on the outside, on the inside. Have you ever seen what's inside when you cut open the guts, the stomach, the intestines? Horrible. A horrible smell also coming from. That is part of the process, of course, of digestion. But you can make it, you can by putting in good and pure food as much as possible, drink clean water, you can reduce that filth that is inside you. That is the ultimate disgust of a yogi, is the realization of the filth of his body. But yeah, purity, cleanliness, but in all its aspects, the way you think, the way you deal with other people, the way you handle yourself.
I can ask about, like, I heard that some yogis will fast or do some kind of cleanses and stuff like that.
Yep.
Have you ever done anything like that, or?
Yep.
Is there any way you recommend approaching that?
Nope.
No.
Follow your feeling. Listen, this whole cleansing and fasting thing, you can take a very expensive trip to Thailand. I have a friend actually who started a center in Phuket. It's very nice, but it's also commercialized, just like yoga has commercialized. I do fast. I did one in between the course in end of January, just before Lunar New Year, for 5 days. And I'm planning to do it again in the summer when this course is finished, before the next course starts. and from now on I think I will do it every half year. I've done it before, and I think the most important when you fast is a good question, because this is really cleaning up. The most important is that you follow your feeling. Don't go into the internet and buy all kinds of expensive kits with juices and how do you call these things that you put up your behind and anima. You know, if you do that maybe once, okay, but if you go to those cleansing centers, you take an enema every day, sometimes twice a day. That is not healthy, you know. It makes them a lot of money, but that is not healthy. And you know, fasting costs nothing. On the contrary, you save money. So you can go onto such a very expensive trip. But I advise you to do it on your own, and do it on the moment that you have a quiet time for. Don't do it when you are busy with your work. Don't do it when you are in trouble in your relationship or other instabilities. You have to have a quiet moment for a week or so. And then just follow your feeling. No pressure, no stress. The first time I fasted is, I was 22, I think, at that time, 23, 24 years ago. I was working at the airport in Amsterdam, coastal Amsterdam, and I worked a night shift, and I would go there by bicycle. It's like a 40-minute ride if you go fast. I had a sports bike. And I worked, I was a cleaner, night shift. And although it is physical labor, it was not stressful or so I just enjoyed riding my bike and going there and coming back again early in the morning and walking around there with my broom and doing the things that I was required to do. But because I was kind of busy, so I did drink V8 juice. And if I felt really weak, I would take a cup of broth. And I think I also ate some raw vegetables, a little bit. And I fasted for 5 days then. And it feels so nice. The moment that you start eating again, you just feel that energy going through your bloodstream. It's really amazing. The last time that I fasted, I didn't take anything at all, only water. And I just go into the fast with a sense, with the idea of, well, I will just see where it goes. And I started the morning with a cup of what do you call this fruit? Tamon juice. Grapefruit, yellow grapefruit juice, pure grapefruit juice. But after 2 days I stopped doing that too, and I just drank water only. Then I had calculated it such that the final part of my fast would be during New Year. So I would be totally without commitments. The gym was closed also for 3 days. So that Wednesday, that Tuesday, I had fasted for 5.5 days, and I could have extended it into the Lunar New Year holiday. It could have been 6, 7, 8, even 9 days. But that day I went to Itaewon to the international market, the supermarket there, with a lot of foreign products. And it was the heaviest day of the 5 days. First day was difficult because of the hunger. Second day you don't have that anymore. Third day I had enormous energy. I was more flexible than usual, and I felt more strength than usual doing exercises, walking, yoga exercises. The fourth day I started being really tired. And the 5th day was a multiplication of that. And I thought, well, let's try to add another couple of days if possible. So I was in my 6th day when I went to Itaewon, and I drive this little shit car all the time. And I was backing out of a parking lot, and I saw my face in the mirror, and I looked so tired and so old that at that moment I decided to stop. Because that reminded me of the period that I looked like that every day, and I don't want to go back to that. And I thought, you know what? I did it 5.5 days, it's perfect, more than enough. And even if you do it only 1 day or 2 days, that doesn't matter, you know. So what I'm saying is you have to follow your feeling. And the moment that you start eating again, it's like being reborn. Mentally also, you have a very fresh, new outlook on things, and it's not for nothing that it's called cleansing. It really is cleansing, not only physically, also mentally. Very nice. If you want, when the course is finished, I will do it again. We can stay in touch with each other and exchange ideas or experiences and do it together. Anyone who wants to do it. It's, you know, like this morning I mentioned something about living in a cage somewhere up a mountain. That is a test of your willpower. And fasting is a test of your willpower also. It's a test of whether you are able to control your desire to eat. Every time you are hungry or feel weak, or it's very powerful, not just physically, also mentally. It's a test, it's an exam also. And you will love it. Of course, you know, the moments that you feel so weak and unstable, that is a trial in itself. But then you start eating again very carefully. First, very fine food like Korean porridge, some porridge or something light that doesn't need too much digesting, and you will absolutely love it. I know. Very nice. Very, very refreshing.
What about fasting and practicing non-violence?
That is why I say that you have to follow your feeling. So we will discuss the subject of austerity soon. This is a practice of austerity. And austerity is something that you have to do in a sensible way. You put yourself to the test. You try to keep yourself organized as good as you can without harming yourself. The moment that you feel that it is not reasonable anymore, then you decide to stop and you go back to normal. But this is very strengthening for a human being. We will come to that, austerity. Yeah. So purification is also fasting. Absolutely. Fasting is purification. Not only physical. And you don't have to spend several $1,000s on... of course it is nice if you have worked hard for a year. It's very nice to be pampered in some nice tropical place somewhere. But if you do it on your own, it has much more effect. It is just asking so much more of your determination and willpower to complete it. Questions about the practice of purity? Do you see the difference a little bit between Yama and Niyama? Yama are a little bit like the commandments in the Bible. Don't do this, don't do that. It's a kind of denial. How not to behave. But the Niyamas they have a different angle from which you come in. In the Niyamas, you proactively practice a principle. In the Yamas you say no, here you say yes. But they are in the same line in a way. They have to do with moral behavior. Niyama is proactive, while Yama is more of a defensive nature. 5?
5.
Yeah. So your homework is basically to just live your life in the next coming week, and then see how purity comes in the decisions that you make, in how you communicate with people, how you do the things that you do usually, but now you do it consciously and not in a serious way or in a fanatic way, but just play and see where purity comes in. In the same way as that you see where non-violence or truthfulness comes in the things that you do, things that you say, the way you conduct yourself, etc. Communication with people, etc. Questions about purity? And if you really need this dentist, no, I'm serious because it's a very serious issue for many people who just can't find a good dentist. Send me an email. Jessica, yes, Jessica. Sorry.
I just wondered if you could explain the idea of real astrology that you mentioned in your notes.
Yes, real astrology. Real astrology is a combination of science and intuition. Have you ever had a horoscope drawn? A real horoscope? A real horoscope is not a drawing and then one paragraph of prediction. A real horoscope is a bookwork. It's at least more than 10 pages. And it is full of calculations. They have to know exactly when you were born, the time also which you were born, accurate to the minute. And with that they will consult their books to see where the heavenly bodies were at that moment you were born. And based upon that, they can tell you who you are, they can tell you about your past, and they can tell you about your future. Real astrology, practice of real astrology, therefore, is something that you can learn. But you will only be really good at real astrology if you are super sensitive. Yeah? Because with your sensitivity, you can feel energies. Maybe that's a little bit too difficult to understand, but we talked about the biological clock last week. How do you know that 20 minutes has passed? That is a feeling. If you try to feel it, then you will fail. But it comes to you. You can ask me any time of the day and the night. You can wake me up in the middle of the night and I will tell you what time it is without clock. And most of the times I'm very close to the real time. How is that possible? You ask, how do you know? Because the people who have seen me doing that, they say this is impossible. You have a watch under your pillow, or no, that is sensitivity. Because the day and the night have a cycle of energy, and every hour of the day, every minute of the day feels different. There is a waxing and waning of the Shiva and Shakti energy in the atmosphere. There is a day and night, a dark and light. And if you are very sensitive, that moment of the day has a kind of a feeling of a certain atmosphere to it. And if you when you start distinguishing that atmosphere, you know what time it is, approximately. To be an astrologist, you have to have that sensitivity. I've never tried to be an astrologist because that is not in my dharma, or at least not now, not for now. But you have to be able to feel energies too. And I have had a horoscope drawn before I came to Korea, so that's 15 years ago. And it's really amazing. The person who made the horoscope only knew me from the yoga class, and we knew each other. We didn't know each other actually. But the first thing that she did after she made the horoscope at home, so it took a couple of weeks before she was done. And then one night she came to my house to explain everything. She came with a whole bookwork and a tape. But the first thing she did was, based upon the information that she had and based upon her sensitivity, she told me things of the past, only to confirm that she's on the right track. And everything she said about my past was right. And were things that she couldn't have known about me, because she didn't know me, other than just having seen my face in the class. She didn't know anything about me. She was right on the spot with how my youth was, how I was like a child, and my ambitions as a child, and my dreams and so on. She told me about those kind of things. And based upon that, there is a certain trust that you then have. But how can she know this? If she knows this and she starts telling about the future, there must be a certain correctness in that too. And after that I went to Korea. And the things that she told me were very much on the spot too, about things that would happen. For example, what I'm doing now. She predicted that. She mentioned the age of 48, which I am almost. Would be a breakthrough. And of course, when that is said, it's not, you do not sit down and wait until you are 48, because nothing will happen if you do that. You just go about your business and things will happen, and it can be 47, it can be 49, but very accurate, very nice. It's difficult to find people who can do this, really. Real astrologists. But there are. And most people who do that, they do it purely out of hobby. And that kind of person you have to find. If you want to have astrology, horoscope being drawn, try to not do it with a profession. Better to find somebody who does it for a hobby. Why? Exactly because of this whole purity thing. If you do it out of a hobby, you are open. You open yourself up because you like to do it, you love to do it. And because you love to receive that energy related to the person you are dealing with. If you do it with a professional, that person does it routinely and it's not, that is a generalization, it's not always true of course, but that person is not with his heart in it. And that is the most important element required of an astrologist. Yeah?
So, I really recognise what you're saying about purity, and I kind of feel like I have lots of things in my life that I really enjoy and have always said I don't want to do them for a job because I don't want to get paid for them, because that will take the joy out of it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm also one of those English teachers who doesn't really want to be an English teacher.
Yeah.
And so how do you reconcile those two things if like you have things that you love doing and you can't make any money doing them?
Yeah, that is the dilemma.
Yeah.
I know.
Like,
I know. Well, I've done many things to come to the point that I could do what I love doing. I've been a taxi driver at night, while in the daytime taking care of plants in office buildings and hospitals. I've worked in restaurants and at the airport, and I've done many things to get at a certain point to a point where you can start really pursuing what you really want. But until then, you have to have a roof over your head, you have to be able to turn on the heater or the air conditioner. Yeah, you have to do what you have to do. But in the meantime, you keep yourself busy what it really is that you want. So whatever it is, if it is art or yoga or whatever it is that you want, you pursue education in that direction, or practice or development in that direction. And sooner or later things will come together. Sooner or later you will come at the crossroads and you have to make a decision. And you will, if there is room, if it is possible, you will choose to go in the direction that feels closest to your heart. But until then you have to do what you have to do.
so there's compromises.
Yeah, you have to
You're
ensure.
your person. Because you have to make those. Yeah,
Yeah, but you know there is nothing more beautiful in life than to do jobs that you don't like while having a dream. And if you pursue what you have in your heart, you are like a child who has a dream. It's very spiritual. It doesn't matter if you have to clean 80 dirty toilets every day. It doesn't matter. That's divine too. You do it whistling. You do it with a smile on your face. Get education, get training, whatever it is that you need for what you really are interested in. And pursue that. And don't give up. Especially not when it gets difficult. But you know, the world keeps turning and we do have to pay the rent. We have a certain obligation. Maybe some of you have a family to take care of. You cannot just throw that overboard and follow your heart and say, bye-bye. That is... with that you violate many other principles. So yes, we have to compromise in a way, and we have to be careful not to cause more damage than we find benefit from pursuing our heart, our passion. So that is a process that takes many, many years. You know, my oldest brother is very highly educated. He's driving a taxi in Amsterdam. He doesn't want to work in corporate life. All his friends from school, they all work themselves up in the corporate life or in politics. And my brother just doesn't want that. That was his choice. He's the same as I am. He hates corporate culture in which people kiss the asses above and they kick down on the faces below them. And that is for some people, like my brother, sensitive people, that is impossible to subject yourself to. So you need to be independent. And he likes driving, so he has a big car, nice car. Every 2 years he buys another one. And I think it is stupid, but in light of this, that is what makes him happy. Very intelligent. All my brothers and sisters, very intelligent. But none of them has pursued anything special. They just want to be comfortable. And I recognize that, so I don't really agree with it. But I understand why. It was hard growing up for most of us, and there was a lot of misery. So nobody wants that anymore. And nobody wants to have tension, for example, of a workplace. So we all take it easy. But if I compare, then I see that I clearly continue to move forward, and they are just standing still in time, only getting older a little bit. One brother died, 46 years old. The other brother is an alcoholic. I could have been like that too, you know. My oldest brother is a taxi driver. My sister works for the government. My other two sisters are, one is a hairdresser but taking care of a family now. The other one works for the government too. But nobody has ambition. So they still have their hair. I don't. They are scared. They are more scared to lose their hair, my brothers. They're more scared to lose their hair than to pursue their ambition and their heart. Isn't that funny? That's ironic. Okay. Other questions?
What advice would you give your brother?
Say again?
What advice would you give your brother, the taxi driver, if he wouldn't get mad at you? Like, what would you
No.
say to him?
Long time ago, I gave up trying to give people advice about my opinion about life, because it doesn't work. You have to let everybody be what they are. Here, in this setting of a classroom, you come here to learn about yoga, So I'm telling you many things that I would never tell my family. They have no idea what I'm doing. They know I'm a yoga teacher, but they have no idea on what level I am, or what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. They have no idea. And you can't tell them. You can't. If they come to me, then you have another story. But I can't go meddling with their lives. I can't go interfere with their lives and say, hey, what you do, that is stupid. You have to do like this, you have to do like, you have to follow your heart. That is a recipe for conflict. That is a recipe for alienation. No, we love each other all very much. And we respect each other. The misery that we have all had for many years when we were young has made us very respectful to one another. Many families, especially big families, are full of conflict. One hates this one and the other one hates that one, and sister-in-law and brother-in-law and mother-in-law and all the many conflicts. We have none. We have no conflicts at all. And when conflicts arise, they're immediately solved in a very nice way, sensible way. There are no big egos anymore exploding, and I'm very proud of that, actually. We came from very far. That's really nice. You will see, everybody, when you experience yoga as it is, and you start to see the wisdom, the sensibility of it all, you will want to share it with the people you love. You will talk about it with your friends, with your family. And you say, hey, you know, this and that, and why don't you try some little bit of yoga? It's so nice. And you will bump into a concrete wall. You will see. This is necessary. This has to happen. Because you have to learn to shut up. Yeah, you have to really learn to shut up. You only explain when people ask, but if people don't ask, don't tell them. They are not interested. I told you about my mom when, long time ago, I told my mom, Mom, why don't you take a yoga class? And every night she goes to, or twice, 3 times a week, she would go playing cards, bridge, in a cultural center in the neighborhood. And she answered, she said, why should I practice yoga? Every time I look inside that room where they practice yoga, they're just lying on the floor. I can do that at home too. So yes, Mom, but you know what? It's so nice when you stretch and you feel the energy circulate. You know, she said, yeah, but I'm stretching all day, you know. I have 7 children and every day I have to wash and I hang these clothes on the line. How many times do you think I stretch out? So there's no arguing with that, you know. It's of no use. It's of no use. So don't become Don Quixote fighting windmills. Because that just makes you tired. And other people find you bothersome. We will come across in the yoga books that in what we will read, many times we will come across the phrase, keep this a secret. And I will explain you why, very practically why. It's not only about this, there are many other reasons for it. But it's not because it is so secretive what we do, but you have to be careful with it. We will come to that. You have a question, Anna?
Yeah, I live with a man who is interested in what I'm doing here every Saturday, and he, so there's been a couple of times recently where he's very interested in what I've been doing, and he wants to know, but he's got a very critical mind, and he wants to pick to pieces everything that I tell him, and it's kind of a source of disharmony. And what is your advice on that score?
You know, if his interest is not really an interest, but just a way of belittling what you do, or trying to sarcastically attack everything that you try to explain, then tell him that if you're not really interested, don't ask anymore. Because that is not a constructive way to talk about it. But if he's really interested, then you tell him, he asks, you tell, But if you, every time you tell something, he tries to tackle you in a way, that is impure. But you know that causes friction between you and him. That basically means that you will have to be busy with yoga just yourself, without his interference. And yeah, just tell him to come to yoga class.
I told him, please come to that was the resolution.
Yeah, I know. When I was long time ago in Holland, I had a girlfriend, and I had my routine of practicing yoga, and one day I found she was in my house and I wanted to practice, and I said, you know what, just read your magazine and do just 50 minutes. I just want to sit down 50 minutes and meditate. And so she was sitting there, it was a one-room apartment. She was sitting there on the sofa, and I sat there for 2-3 minutes, and she started leaving through the magazine. More and more noisy. So I opened my eyes and I said, what are you doing? And she said, yeah, what are you doing? You're just sitting there doing nothing, and I'm sitting here and becoming irritated. And so, oh my God. That was the first and the last time. You know? Totally. If you want to practice yoga, you have to do it when you're alone. And you keep it to yourself. And when people are interested, you talk about it, you explain. But if people become cynical, sarcastic, they try to tackle you with everything you try to explain, forget it. Don't even do effort anymore. Tell them to do their own hobby, their own thing. And if you really want to know, then do a course yourself. But that is not fair, you know, that way. I know that there are people who do like that. Because they don't really understand what it is about, so they feel kind of intimidated, and rather than to pursue some more insight in it, you know, in a sincere way, they just try to tackle everything that, and because you are not so, if he would try to do that with me, I would blow him away with my knowledge and insight. But maybe you don't have that yet, that insight, that solidity in knowledge. Let it go, it's not important. Focus on yourself. That is not fair if people do like that.
He doesn't mean it in a bad way, it's just how his brain
Yeah,
works.
no, but that, you know,
He's genuinely interested.
if he would be really confronted with the way that he is acting, then maybe he would say, oh, you know, that was not I didn't really mean to do like that. But that is just how people react. That is a tendency of people to do something in a certain way. We all live like that. That's why we need yoga, to become aware of our tendencies, our habits and tendencies. And as a result of that awareness, to get rid of them. So sarcasm, cynicism, irony also, those are also impurities. So we try to avoid doing those kind of things ourselves in our life. We try not to be sarcastic anymore. That is not nice, that's ugly. This is impure in the sense of the practice of Shaucha. That's not pure. Cynicism is not pure. Just be direct and frank, but in an honest way, in a sincere way. Other questions? Yeah?
I guess what about like with children and stuff? If they show interest, or if you have children in the future or something, is this something you want to share with them? How do you approach that?
Oh, children are very malleable.
Yes, you don't want to like
No?
brainwash them, obviously.
No. But listen, no. You can, when you are a mindful human being, you will be able to give your children a big advance over many other children. How? By every time appealing to their consciousness. You do that simply by discussing things with them on their own level, trying to give them insight. Do not bombard them with complicated, difficult adult stuff, but just discuss simple things of life and challenge them to think, to give their own opinion about that. When children are being teased in class, or maybe the child itself is being teased, you try to build them up by constructively talking to them, but especially by making them consciously aware that there is a way to handle it. There's a way to control things. It is of no use to bombard a child with all kinds of philosophical things from yoga, but with everything that you learn, you will have a lot of wisdom to share with the child. And so your child will have a big advance over other children. And as a woman, I've had several students who became pregnant during training and continued practicing yoga. And it is absolutely incredible how different children are from a mother who is born from a yogi mother. The children stand on their feet much faster. They walk much faster than other children. Their eyes are big and bright. Absolutely amazing. And they are so, you feel they are just in a constant state of meditation. They soak up that is the nature of children, but many children are disturbed for little things. They're very deeply spiritual. Absolutely marvelous. Children of a mom who practices yoga before and during practicing, absolutely marvelous. A huge difference. You will see. So, because most of you are women, keep this in mind. Because your child will be very special and very, it will have many special features that other children don't have. You will see. This is not a fantasy or a story. Absolutely true. I've seen it several times.
My cousin is really into meditating.
Yeah.
And she meditated before and during and after her pregnancy. And her little baby, like, I was at her house for 2 hours, never cried, never complained. Even if she's in a really public place, she's really calm and not easily disturbed. And yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and they learn very fast.
Mm-hmm.
They soak up everything like a dry sponge. Really amazing.